thereof, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I live stream it, Scott?
What's that?
Do I live stream this one?
All right, to get started tonight, we are going to do a roll call of board members that are here. Becky?
Here.
Matt?
Here.
Ken? Ken is absent. Denny? Denny is absent. Doug? Doug is absent. Karen?
Here.
Kevin is here also. So that leaves 4 of us. I believe Denny is on his way. So the next item on our budget presentation is Liz. Liz and
Taylor.
Taylor Bentham.
Yes, Taylor Bentham is here with me tonight. She is just sitting in on this budget board meeting, to see how it goes. We've hired Taylor full-time in our office once she graduated from college, and she's been working for us for a couple of years anyway. So, and she is a business manager in training as well as doing payroll for a school. So she's just here to kind of, yeah. So, with that said, I believe last year, I believe last year I went through the budgets, just went through the big changes and whatever, and then we, at the next board meeting, we actually, approved that. So I'll just go through, and I'll start with the notes here. I gave everybody a copy of the all 4 budgets that have to be approved tonight. We have the general fund, the food service, the community library, and the student activity fund 29. So of course the big amendment is the general fund budget, and I did put notes in the business manager notes as well as I gave you guys a copy of a little more of a breakdown on those. And for the June amendment, which would be in the second to last column on your general fund budget amendment and 24-25 budget. And so as far as revenues, between the April amendment and now, there's a decrease of $92,000. That I ended up decreasing the preschool tuition. Now it may end up coming in higher than I anticipated, but looking at what we got last year for revenue in June and adding to what we had gotten this year, I ended up decreasing that. And then investment interest, which was a good increase for $32,000. I made a note here, this year so far in the general fund, we've earned interest of a little over $70,000. For the general fund and the food service, almost $12,000. And if you look back, just like 2 years ago, that interest was like $2,200. So the MILF interest with the economy that we have going on right now, and I've been trying to keep as much of the funds over in the MILF as I can. It's just been outstanding. Interest has been great. So with that said, you'll see in my notes later, I decided that next year I'm not sure it's going to be that good, so I decided I need to come down a little on that, but hopefully that won't be the case. But and then as far as like grants, etc., at-risk 31AA, which is our mental health and school safety, our title grants, those that revenue decreased by about $202,000 just to get that in alignment with the expenditures. On the grants, revenues equal expenditures. And we did move some of the expenditures for the secure entrance out of 23-24 over into 24-25, which is at-risk dollars. So, and then just, how those grants are coming in. And the 31AA to move some of the weight room over into next year. So that is a decrease in revenue and expenditures. Let's see, GSRP, we had a decrease in revenue to match expenditures again. We're moving some of that and carrying it over into next year. As far as expenditures in the amendment, I added some summer school expenditures. Like I said, with the weight room and the secure entrances, we moved a portion of that over into next year. Had an increase to some elementary, middle school, high school sub cost, as well as every year at this time we have to adjust it's the retirement UAAL it's called. Our revenues have to match our expenditures, and depending on how much we get revenue, we have to do like a one-time adjustment on that. Let's see, preschool expenditures and GSRP. We decreased those closer to actual. We had some retirement leave time payouts. Transportation expenditures, I decreased those. We just didn't end up having to have as much in bus repairs and parts due to some newer buses. So, and utilities also decreased those down a little bit. You know, we've just done better with heat this year because it was a warmer spring. So overall decrease to expenditures of $144,387. So with that all said, it's an increase overall to our fund balance from our April of $52,379, which leaves us at the end of 23-24 with an estimated fund balance of $2,698,955, which is a 17.77% fund balance. And then as far as the 24-25 budget, I guess we'll just keep right going with general fund. So for local revenue, again, like I said, I decreased the investment interest just because I'm not 100% sure things are going to stay the way they are. Nobody is. State and federal. I increased the state aid. Scott and I had discussed that, and we went with the governor's proposal because the state doesn't have their budget done, and so we don't know where that per pupil is going to end up. So we went with the governor's, which was $214. And overall, with the increase to that and our discretionary, $270,000. And then as far as at-risk and our school safety, we're supposed to get a hefty increase in at-risk. I did my best to go through and try to figure out the state's complex formula to figure that out. And we'll see how right I am when we do the next budget amendment, I guess. But again, it depends on what the state decides on. You know, we've got 3 different proposals floating out there. And as Matt had asked a few minutes ago, you'll see a big decrease in federal revenue, and that's because we do not have the ESSER 2, ESSER 3, 11T, the innovative libraries in 147 off our state, as well as 27L and 97J, which all those letters are very hard to remember what they all stand for, but those are all grants that we get that are federal and state. So between the federal and state grants, that's a decrease of $675,000. And then our title grants, every year we get less and less, and so right now I have those decreased by about $31,000. And then increase to GSRP, and that will go up again with our next amendment. So an overall increase of $79,584, which is kind of sad when you see that we're going to get the additional per student revenue, and then of course we lose the other. But we also, some expenditures go away with that too. So, and then it's on the expense side. You know, everybody got a step and wage increase. And we have the open teaching positions budgeted at like a VA 10, step 10. That's just an estimate. Any other ones that we know are coming in a different step, I have those adjusted. We have a new preschool director in and increased the GSRP expenditures back up as well for using the carryover. We have less devices. due to the ESSER funds. We do still have some devices in the budget under at-risk and general fund, but last year was the year that we used up the balance of what we had for ESSER funds for devices. So that is a decrease in expenditures. Let's see. Moved in the weight room and the secure entrances. We took out the director of accountability position, as Becky is now going to be the principal, and we added in an elementary success worker, so that was a net increase of about $24,000. And also last year Becky was not in the ESSER grant as much as she had been the prior year, so otherwise that would have been a bigger difference. Let's see, instructional tech, that's where we have some of the general fund devices. And business services, there was an increase for the business services for my position, and the payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable, everything we do. And we also have about 20 grand in here for new finance software. That may not happen next year, but for now I left it in there. They're kind of overwhelmed, the company that we're going to go with, and so that may get pushed back a year. So there was a big increase to property casualty insurance, of which our insurance rep explained some of that has to do with the PIP coverage that people have on their automobiles and not being fully covered, and then having an incident with a school bus on the road, and some things that can happen as far as schools being sued. And then also they're looking at extending the time period for some other cases that can come up for a school district to be sued, and it'll be extended. So they need to keep money in their coffers in case that happens. All right, let's see. Wrestling, we added athletics, had increased to uniforms, I believe. I was trying to remember, and I didn't have my notes right with me. I think football uniforms this year, but I can't remember for sure. I met with Sean and Lisa, and let's see. The phone and the PA system, the rest of the balance that was in last year's budget for that is out. The teen project out. More devices that we had in other function codes, and summer school, some of the grant funding that we're not going to get for that. That is a decrease. We had 2 teaching positions that were covered under the ESSER for this year, and those are moved over in the general fund, back into the general fund, and we don't have ESSER funds to cover those. So I just wanted to make a note of that. And some other smaller. And so overall, the decrease 193,452 from last year's expenditures to this year. And we based the pupil count on 1,078, which is using the fall count and the April count. And foundation of 9849, that's with the increase of 214. So estimated ending fund balance of 2,756,030, which is about a 17.92%. So overall, relatively balanced budget. That is general fund, food service. Not a lot there. I don't have the notes for that are in the business manager notes, but as far as the amendment, I increased the state and federal food service revenues up about 41,000 for just the revenue that's coming in for the free meals, and it's just an increase because all the meals are reimbursed at a free rate instead of a reduced or paid rate this year. Commodities, we received an additional 11,500, and that increases our revenue and our expenditures. And let's see, food costs, I ended up, I overestimated in the last amendment in April. It didn't end up spending as much as I anticipated, so I reduced that down about 30,000. And I know I had said, I believe at the April, that I did not believe that we would have a spend down plan in food service, but because those food service costs came in lower, we probably will, of about 31,000. I don't know that they will even make us do a plan for that dollar amount. And I'm sure next year food costs are going to eat it right up, so. And then as far as next year's food service budget, they're decreased to revenue by about 31,000. We did get something called supply chain assistance money the last, I don't even remember, 3 or 4 years probably, due to the pandemic, and anticipating that we won't get those dollars next year. And interest income, again, I decreased that a little bit next year, just in case. Of course, increased the wages and benefits. Everybody's, moved up a step, and insurance increases, that kind of a thing. And let's see, capital outlay, because we did have that in our spend down plan this year. That is a decrease of about 87,500. I did leave some funds in there for equipment purchases in case we needed that. And right now I anticipate next year we'd only have like $3,700 spent down plan, which I know they wouldn't make us do a plan for that. So that is the budgets, and except for, and reach over here, grab a big copy for myself of the community library budget. Basically the amendment, I'm just amending that revenue and expenditures closer to where everything's coming in at. And then next year, I just bumped everything up a little on the, as far as the revenue sources and the expenditures. So leaving that this year with estimated fund balance of 92,403, and then next year 96,703. And then on activity funds, we only did one other, well, on both of these, we only did one other budget this year, and that was our original budget. So as far as revenues, those are coming in less than what I originally anticipated way back last June. And expenditures are also down. So estimated fund balance at June 30 this year of 187,191. And then next year, 215,191. So that is that. So before I do my little truth and taxation little tidbit, do you guys have any questions on anything? I know that was a lot.
I think I'm good.
All right.
And again, these are just estimates.
Yes, I mean yes, yep,
With the state not giving us a budget and then audit still coming in July,
right.
it could fluctuate a little bit, so.
Yep. So it's really hard for us to budget when the state doesn't have a budget. And because of the unfunded liability issue, that is discussion happening where the health insurance part of the retirement plan is fully funded, and now they got to figure out what to do with all the funds that we normally would pay into that, and they're kind of having a little, back and forth
Discussion.
on that. So that also will be, I'm guessing, a big adjustment to our first amendment that we do. So, all right. Well, on that note, in order to levy the appropriate amount of property taxes for funding the 24-25 general fund budget, McBain rural agricultural schools will levy 18 operating mills. And in 2024, the 2023 debt millage will be levied at 0.98 mils. And for the 2023 debt payments, that will cover the debt payments that will be due in November and May. And then the sinking fund will be levied at 3 mils like we did this year. And the debt and sinking fund levies were approved by voters in May of 2023. So I have the approximate values if you care to know what those will bring in. As far as the debt, it will be about $335,485, which we have a company called PFM that helps us with that, figuring out the debt millage that we need to levy in order to make our payments that we have to make on that throughout the year. And then the 3 mills with the current property tax values that we have right now would be about $1,026,994. So, and those values fluctuate throughout the year as well, but, so. That, I believe, is all I have.
Okay. Any questions for our business manager? All right. Here you go. Yeah, thanks Liz
You're welcome.
and Taylor.
A little over.
At this time, we'll move on to public comment. Anybody have anything they want to say? All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Support.
Motion support to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right. We will stand and say the pledge one more time.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing we need to do is to amend and or accept tonight's agenda. Anybody have any amendments they need to make, like to make?
Motion to accept.
Okay.
Do you want to amend that tonight?
Oh, yes, so we're gonna amend, down in our routine matters, she's got the April minutes. That should read May minutes. The May minutes. Anything else? Okay, we have a motion, we have support.
Support.
Motion support for tonight's agenda. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right. This time, it is time for public comment. If anybody has anything to say, they have 2 minutes. Okay, I don't think we're gonna have any of that tonight. On to our routine matters. We need to approve our regular meeting in May minutes for that meeting. Assuming everybody read those over. Did anybody find anything? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Support.
Motion support to approve the May minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. B, we need to consider general fund invoices for payment. Matt?
I would like to make a motion to pay from the general fund, check 77361 through 77505 for $163,117.55. And from food services, check 77360 through 77505 for $61,316.86.
All right, we have a motion. We have support for our invoice payments. Support. Motion support. Do we have any discussion or questions on any payments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on to reports and communications, myself, I'm going to talk a little bit later on in the committee reports. For that, I don't have anything. Superintendent?
Yeah, I have some things. As you guys know, or well aware, the track project continues to go on. We're in a holding pattern now for pavement. We have a drop dead date of being paved on July 15th. Hopefully the weather will hold out for us as it has so far. As far as that project goes, I know we got a lot of rain this weekend. So we're hoping that July 15th we have paved. Then we go into another holding pattern. The pavement has to sit for a period of time before they put rubber and striping on. That ranges for anywhere from 14 to, I've heard 30 days. So it kind of depends on who's ever putting on the rubber to do that. Once they start putting the rubber on, we have 8 to 10 day waiting period before they can stripe. So it's going to be pretty close to when school starts that we hope to have the track completed. If you get a chance to go up there and look, it looks really nice. They have it pretty much graded as far as the field events, and they'll come in for final grading on the paving part 3 to 4 days before they do the paving. But it's exciting. I'm excited to see the pavement up there and getting that done. It is causing me some anxiety that it's just not getting done. Apparently they don't want to sit around and just wait for our track to be done. They want to make other money too. It's weird. But that's where we're at with the track. Middle school gym. The good news too on the track is I know a lot of people watch the board meetings, is the millings that they took off of the track, or they ground the track, we're able to use that as our base, which is going to save the district a substantial amount of money for that. So kudos to the engineers, to Kelly Becken for his help with that and making sure that worked, and Den's insight on it as well. We have a really, really good base with those millings. So excited about that. Middle school gym, the main floor is removed. We were able to go in there today and look at the slab. The slab looks really good. No major cracks. We were concerned about moisture. So it's interesting. Flooring company's coming tomorrow, so I'll give you more updates after that. But I'm hoping that we don't really need to do anything with it. With all that rain that we had this weekend, I would have thought we would have seen water in there if we had an issue. So we'll continue to monitor that. Excited for the flooring company to come in. If you guys want to go down after the board meeting, let me take you in there. Looks really nice. There is still flooring under the bleachers. So they'll come in and they'll put the main floor in, then they'll come back in, move the bleachers off, remove that flooring, and then abate there, and then put flooring in there to move the bleachers back.
We'll have to put all that tape and plastic back up.
I'm guessing it's a smaller amount.
I would hope so.
Yes, I would hope
Takes
so
a long
too.
time.
Yes. But we're excited about that. It passed the air quality inspection over the weekend, so excited about that. High school office is well under its way. We have our exterior door put in, windows. They're making a lot of progress on that. They were in mudding again today, finishing some of that stuff up. They started on the middle school and elementary school offices as far as removing interior doors that needed to be removed. So we're making a lot of headway on all of our projects. The weight room as well. They have most of the wall that we were taking down. They started cutting the floor to remove plumbing, making a lot of progress there. It looks a lot larger, a lot more open already. Granted, we don't have the equipment in there and stuff, but it's looking good. We still have open positions to be filled for next school year. We have high school ELA positions, middle school ELA or middle school math position. I believe Mr. Finstrom is interviewing this week for those. We also have our elementary success worker position. That's a new position. If you looked at our elementary numbers, 513 I believe, off the top of my head. From what I send you in the board update, it might be 518. That's substantially larger than our middle school and high school. Middle school is around 250, high school is just over 300. We need to get some more support for staff and students in the elementary, so looking at kind of mirroring maybe Kristen Huttinga's position, but doing grade bands, a K2 and a 3-5 to offer more support for our staff and students. That was being able to be funded by not replacing our director of accountability position. We will put some of those responses. Mrs. Rodenbaugh did an excellent job of putting us on track of consistency across the district, we're very consistent in, I'm trying to think of the word, escapes me right now. Anyway, across the district K-12, where principals are able to now step in and kind of take over those roles under their positions. We'll continue to monitor that as well, but the principals felt that they were confident that they could also take on those responsibilities. Food service has been going well this summer. I want to say that right around 100, anywhere between 130 and 150 meals that or people, more than that now. Yeah. Quite a few meals are being served, and I do believe that the state's allowance of flexibility of families being able to come in and pick up meals and take home rather than sit here and eat and wait for their kids to finish eating has made a big difference. It was one of the things that I think that we learned during the pandemic, that we were able to do that, and it was providing services for our families. Preschool, we're still working on recruitment for enrollment. I believe that we'll still have 4 classrooms next year. Our enrollment might be down just a little bit in our tuition-based programs, but Wexford and Misaki is seeing that across the board for preschool, just lower enrollment. It seems it kind of ebbs and flows that way with birth rates. So we'll continue to monitor that. Preschool still looks good standing and very healthy for the district. Any questions?
All right, thanks, Scott. Moving on to our business management team.
All right, I'll keep it short. I talked too much already. I just want to mention the state aid borrowing resolution, which is later on in the agenda. Very similar to last year. We borrowed $850,000 last year, and I'm recommending $800,000 this year, just to get us through that time period. In September, we don't get state aid, and then we don't start collecting property taxes until usually around beginning of January. So, and let's see. We did one final amendment to the ESSER 3 application, and that was approved by MDE. And as I said, my notes, we're going to remove the tech deck, the window project, and the AC projects that were originally included in that, and replace those with staffing positions. There was just some concerns starting to arise with when they come and do the reviews as far as prevailing wage, and so it was kind of recommended at our conference that get the projects out, just put people in, and therefore you're not going to have to, try to work on gathering all that additional paperwork that would be required to provide to the state. So, and I think that's about it. I did include the quarterly general fund update, and as I have, in my notes, those are just preliminary figures. We haven't done any of our accrual entries and things that have to be done, so.
Okay. Sounds good, thank you. Principals, we give them the night off, or the month off, I should say, this time, so. Committee reports. We did have a committee meeting a couple weeks ago, I believe. Executive committee, Karen and I, and Ken, Scott met, and talked a little bit about the teacher contract language. Basically, there's some change in there just due to legislation, I believe.
Correct.
We will talk about that a little bit more later. We also talked about, we have 2 board seats that will be open this year, but we also have, both of them said that they would like to return, so Denny's seat will be open and Ken's seat will be open.
Paperwork's filled out, I just don't turn it in.
Okay. I think you got till July sometime, right?
23?
July 23 is the deadline.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, you don't have to wait till the deadline, you can just turn it in. Leave your work over there.
I drive it fast every day.
True. But yeah, if there's anybody that's out there listening, if they are interested in running, they need to contact the Woonsocket County Clerk for information and what they need to do. Superintendent contract language. Again, I think there's going to be some small changes in that just due to legislation. I actually got email from Throne this last week that I'll have to look through and see what that entails. I don't think it's going to be anything too major. What we've all been looking forward to again is superintendent evaluation training.
It's a good time.
Scott threw out a bunch of dates for us. We tentatively planned on August 5 doing that,
Yes.
hoping that everybody's vacation days are. But I guess if that's a problem with anybody, we can discuss that.
Yeah, and I have not received any feedback that someone couldn't make it, so can't make it.
Is it a full 3 hours then?
It's what it's scheduled for.
Are you gonna feed us?
Yes.
Thank you, I just,
Yep, we plan on it. Yep.
thanks.
Yeah.
That's all I really care about, as long as you'll feed me something after I work all day, I'll
Pack
be
a-
really happy.
Pack a lunch, Becky.
Thanks, I will, I don't care, just tell me what I need to
Yeah.
do.
And that training is also, I think you guys are doing a fine job evaluating.
Yes.
But I think, no, that's all due to legislative changes too.
Yep, you got it.
Requirements. So.
And then also we talked about, Scott get out to the director of accountability position, and our numbers for elementary, middle school, and high school. Buses are ordered,
Yeah.
and also, which we'll talk about more later too, the wrestling mats. So,
Could I touch on buses real quick?
Yeah.
Just so, so our 2 buses that we ordered this past fall still aren't here. We really don't have an ETA.
2 or 3?
2. Oh, 3, yep, 3. Sorry, 3 buses that we ordered this past, it's been so long. The 3 buses that we ordered still aren't here. We really don't have an ETA on that. One thing that Scott Dunham had brought up is the next time, so you guys remember we plan on purchasing 10 buses, 3, 3, 2, 2 in that cycle. With the length of time it's taking to get our buses, Scott is recommending, and I tend to agree with him on this, is our next round we order 4. So that would give us our 10 buses. We're able to put 2 of those 4 on the road, and then the other 2 he'll keep back as sub buses, which they'll not accrue the miles. So we'll still be on a good cycle where we don't have to rotate 4 buses at one time. We'll be able to rotate 2. It'll probably in reality be cheaper also to order 4 now than to wait a year, order 2 more. So something to think about, will probably come to you in the fall once we have pricing again, is ordering 4 instead of 2 cycles of 2. I'm really hoping that the 3 we ordered this past fall we get before school starts next year, so.
Gosh, I mean, yeah, it's almost a year out. I mean,
So,
okay, I think that was the extent of our committee meeting. Normally we get an update for MASB, but Ken is absent tonight, so.
I just add one thing, I think the biggest update probably from MASB would be the UAAL whereas they have, as Liz had mentioned, the health insurance is all paid up in full. It's taken quite a few years for that. Now the debate in legislation is, do we give that back to the schools? Do we shift that somewhere else, start paying off in retirement? Do we do a split? We just don't know where it's gonna land. So the school's recommendation will be give some of it back to us, so that we can use it. So that would probably be the biggest MASB update.
All right, moving on to our discussion item, 31AA, mental health.
Yeah, we'll continue to spend our 31AA mental health money for our students and staff. This money's going towards our weight room, but also we have some going to security now and school social workers, success workers to help with the mental health.
Okay, getting on to our action items. Approve the 2023-2024 amended general fund budget and 2024-2025 proposed general fund budget as presented.
Motion. Support.
We have a motion support. Do we have any discussion on our general fund budgets? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? B, approve the 2023-2024 amended library budget and the 2024-2025 proposed library budget as presented.
Motion.
Motion
Support.
and support for the library budget. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? C, approve 2023-2024 amended Fund 29 budget and 2024-2025 Fund 29 activity proposed budget as presented.
Motion. Support.
Motion support for the activity fund budget. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. D, approve 2023-2024 amended food service budget and 2024-2025 food service proposed budget as presented.
Motion.
Support.
Motion and support for the food service budgets. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? E, approve the Vroom resolution authorizing insurance of state school aid.
Motion. Support.
Motion and support. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Alright. F, approve NEOLA policies 38-2, PO 1240, PO 2410, PO 2414, PO 2418, PO 3220, PO 6320, PO 6321, PO 6325, PO 6350, PO 6520, PO 8390, PO 8800. That's the last one. No, I'm not gonna read it again.
Motion.
Support.
Motion support for our NEOLA policies. Any questions on those? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? G, approve the MHSAA resolutions for 2024-2025.
Motion. Support.
Motion and support for the MHSAA resolution. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? H, we have a hire recommendation, Adam Good, band teacher.
Motion.
Support.
Motion support. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on this, Scott?
Yeah, we interviewed Mr. Good back in, goodness, it must have been May, I guess. It seems so long since we had a board meeting. He came in and interviewed very well. He's been teaching downstate. He's excited to move up to this area and start our band program. He was here, saw part of our elementary concerts. Was also came in before we released from school and met with kids in the band room. And it was just up last week, checking out the band room again and going through things. So we're excited to have him be a part of the Rambler family.
Very good, all right, we have a motion and support for Adam. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations to Adam. I, higher recommendation, Emily Tripp for food service.
Motion. Support.
Motion and support for Emily. Do we know anything about Emily?
Yeah, she moved to the area a couple of years ago, has kids in school here. Yeah, excited to have her.
All right, have motion and support for Emily. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations to Emily. Higher recommendation, Tim O'Malley, girls varsity basketball coach.
Motion.
Motion. Support. Motion and support for Tim. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, that passes. K is resignation of Ben Cox, teacher.
Motion.
Support. Motion support for Ben's resignation. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? L, approve the wrestling mat purchase from Delamar Sport Services.
Motion. Support.
Motion support for the wrestling mats. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Congratulations to our wrestling team. M, do I have, we're gonna go into closed session to discuss teacher negotiations due to changes in legislation. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Or motion support to go into closed session. All those in favor say aye. Okay, we are in closed session.
And then if you just wanna open the door,
Yeah,
too, so that they know we're back open.
Uh-huh.
All right, do I have a motion to come out of closed session?
Make the motion to come out of closed session.
Support.
We have a motion and support to come out of closed session. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
That was 6:42 PM.
6:42. Okay, moving on to action item N, approve discussed negotiations.
Motion. Support.
Motion support for our discussed negotiations. Any more questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Public comment, I don't think we're gonna have any of that, so on to roundtable discussion. Does anybody have anything you wanna bring up, talk about? Denny, you good?
I'm good.
Karen?
I'm good.
Becky? Matt?
Good.
I'm good too.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
We have a motion of support to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
See everyone in a couple of weeks.